Have you ever waited till the very last minute to do something, whether it's a school project or a work project, and then an hour before it's due, you're like Kermit on the keyboard, smash it out, get it done. It's some of your best work, and by the deadline? Did you know that that's actually not your best work? I did not, and I feel like there was shade thrown. So this week on the podcast, we're talking about ways that we motivate ourselves with ADHD, and procrastination is a big one. And so I don't know how many times, one time I stayed up literally all night to finish a project for grad school that I had weeks to do. It was the final project. And then I nailed it, killed it, finished it, did the thing. So she talks about how the research shows that even though we're procrastinating and we believe we're doing our best work, we really aren't. Like, research shows that our productivity and our performance is lower when we have the tendency to procrastinate. So I was lying to myself. So here's what we do. We use procrastination to build up the anxiety, to motivate ourselves to get it done, right? Task initiation, it's a hard word, is an executive function. So to get the thing started, we're using the intense anxiety of procrastinating till the last minute, and then we're pushing it out. And then on the other end, we're getting a dopamine high. We're getting a reward for smashing that thing out of the park and believing that we're doing the greatness when we really aren't. But our brain is like, yes, we accomplished that task. Reward, 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 which makes us more likely to repeat that process again in the future. This is how we're using emotionality to motivate ourselves, and it can be self-destructive. If this is you, this is a hack that I use. Pay attention and try it and let me know how it goes. I give myself pretend deadlines. So if it's due Friday, my deadline is Wednesday, or I break it up into tiny chunks. If I have 3 weeks to do a thing, I'm going to do this tiny chunk this day, this tiny chunk this day, and this tiny chunk this day. We're splitting it up. That way I can get myself to do it. I've budgeted time to procrastinate so I don't have the intense anxiety to motivate. I've budgeted time in to do it, and I'm doing tiny task completion for this boring AF project, but I'm still getting the dopamine reward, and the task initiation is happening. So there's a little thing if you procrastinate. Tune into this week's episode of the podcast, Mindful as a Mother, wherever you listen. I'm Paige Bruce, one half of Mindful as a Mother TikTok, one half of the podcast.